Sis, How Do I? Brought to you by Awaze. Hey y'all, what's up? What's up?
It didn't occur to me to put on headphones.
Oh, you didn't?
No.
We're back, you guys. We're just having a conversation off the mic that's continuing onwards. But hey,
Hi.
How you guys doing?
I done forgot. How are you guys? Did you miss us? We're back. It's your host, Howie.
And TG. We literally switched places when we said that. It was TG that said Howie, and it was me that said TG. But we're back with Awaze, but on Wednesday, as we are here every other week. And we have another episode in which we're going to talk about. It's our video number 6, right?
Yes, video number 6 is officially out on all our social media pages as well as on our YouTube. They're all Awaze Media. And this is a project called Sis, How Do I? That we've been working with our partners, the Australian Embassy Ethiopia.
Through the Direct Aid program.
Yes, shout outs to them. And it's coming to a close. There's only 2 more episodes left. But this one was a fun one as well.
This is
It's so cute. I don't know if my cousin's seen it.
My sister has.
Has she?
Yes. So
that's cute.
This was something that we, in the beginning when we wanted to plan out what each topic for every video and every radio show was going to be, we were like, there's no way that we can do a Sis How Do I without actually talking to sisters, or at least talking about sister relationships.
So we actually also wanted to do one with our moms.
That was initially, I guess, the way we went about it, but I think it made more sense to do with sisters.
True, absolutely. We just wanted to kind of show authentic family relationships, because yes, we say sisterhood, and we talk about every woman as our sister, but then there's your actual sister that you've known your entire life. And so the relationship that you have with the female members of your family, it does a lot for a woman's life.
No, for sure.
It can either further your life or hinder it. It can either be a trauma or a strong point.
It can be both, too.
Yeah, it can be combined.
It can definitely be. I think when people talk about sister relationships, I think it's always, the happy, or we're so close and we love each other so much. And a lot of times, or we can just say, from what I've seen, that's not always the case. Not everybody has a super tight knitted relationship with their sisters. And I think when it came to my relationship with my sister, we were close in proximity, but it took us a long time for us to be close emotionally. And I was really glad that we got to do this, because I think that me and my sister have been growing in our relationship, and this was a piece of the puzzle that helped us in our healing. So y'all, when we say that these videos, these topics that we make every week, it's not just to make a cute video and
so
put it out there.
It's so personal most of the time.
It's real. We want to be, and I think me and TG try our best to be transparent and open and authentic.
Yeah, it's a very, very personal way of creating content, in the sense that it's taken from little pieces of our lives.
It's kind of like therapy in a little bit of a way. Sorry, y'all. Like, we use these videos to sort of help our own healing journey.
Yeah, so it's not just about y'all, it's definitely about us as well.
Heck yeah.
Because we want to grow throughout this process. And so I was gonna say the same thing. A lot of the relationships that I've seen are also quite superficial, in the sense that you live in the same house and you've grown up together. There's a hierarchy based on age, and so there's never really a deeper connection or a conversation that, like, this is who I am, this is who you are, I see you, I know you. It's just more, we're family, so if you need help, call me.
And the thing is,
I'll come bail you out.
you're even talking about relationships in which the age gap
I have a sister, she has a sister,
But even me, being such close in age with my sister, we're like a year apart, we still went through those challenges in a relationship simply because we are such different people.
You do end up being such different people, and it's not fair to pretend because you grew up together
that you have to always like the same things or understand each other or see. And that, I think, if you allow it to, it can be a beautiful thing when you embrace each other's differences. Because don't we have different friends don't we embrace and understand our friends, but why is it that when it comes to our relationships with family members, or in this case sisters, they're less understanding?
We pretend to be photocopies of each other where we agree on everything.
And this was such a great episode because it allowed us to unpack, it allowed us to talk. And I think the reason why I like, again, doing the shows on radio is because it allows us to further in depth talk about these topics. Yes.
Watching the video, what was going on in my head was, I didn't touch on this. This was also a very important thing that I've noticed about our sisterhood. And I was like, we have a radio show.
And it's so great because it allows you guys to also be able to tune in and tell us about your relationships with your sisters. And it can also be, boys who have relationships with your sisters.
I really want to hear about brotherhoods, bro.
I really want to hear about the kind of sibling relationship. So we don't want you to think, it's only pertaining to sisters. That is what we focused on. But this can be any sibling relationship. So we gonna unpack.
We gonna be here for a while. So if you tuned in, call a brother, call a sister, call the female members of your family and be like, just tune into 104.7. We have some things to talk about.
I think this is really good. Like I said, this helped in my healing with my sister, and I'll explain why later on into the show.
Me too.
Right?
It made me realize that I'm not spending as much time with my sister. And she said it. She was like, we don't spend as much time as I like. I was like, she right.
Oh, you know what? We about to get into it.
It gets personal, so stay tuned. And also, please tell us stories about your siblings. We really do want to hear what the relationships are like in the families. Do you really consider your sisters, your brothers, friends? Because those are different things.
And I'm going to get to you about this later on in the show, because I actually touch up on this a lot.
Yes.
I'm going to tell you guys what I mean by that after the musical break. Stay tuned. If you guys want to tell us your stories, if you want to request tracks, if you want to say what's up to me and TG, y'all can hit us up on our social media, particularly on our Telegram at Awaze Media, and you can follow us on all platforms on Awaze Media.
Yes, it's AWAZEMEDIA, no spaces in between on Telegram, so make sure to hit us up.
Sounds good, y'all. Let's get to some tracks and we'll be back in a bit. Sis, How Do I? Brought to you by Awaze. Welcome back, y'all.
Hello.
Put your headphones on this time?
I did. I had to.
Welcome back, y'all. We're here on this episode of Sis, How Do I? Awaze show, Awaze Media, along with the Australian Embassy Ethiopia. We're partnering up to just talk about various issues pertaining to sisters.
Yeah,
in today's episode.
It's been so long that we started it that I feel like we're going off of the assumption that people know what we're talking about.
In case we're thinking, you guys have been on this journey with us so far, right?
Yes.
You know what this show is about, right?
You know how we do. But so super quick recap of what Sis How Do I is. For our new listeners, we're partnering with the Australian Embassy Ethiopia through their direct aid program. And we basically created an 8-video, 8-radio show series.
We're on the 6th video, by the way. 6th radio show.
It's only 7th radio show. This is our 7th.
Oh, no.
That's what he said. He was like, no. Y'all only have one left.
Hold on. The reason why...
Because we started radio before we started videos.
The reason why, and we're going to tell you guys about it the next time we do radio, because we did something super special today.
True, we did. We're super exhausted, by the way. We just have a lot of caffeine. So when we created this series, we named it Sis How Do I? It was named because of sort of a similar concept that exists on a YouTube channel. I don't know why his name just escaped me, because it's been a while since I looked him up, but there is this YouTube channel called Dad, How Do I? And it's basically this man who grew up without a father, who was taking the time to make little videos of how to change a tire, how to tie a tie, how to, you know what I mean? Like things that the masculine figure in your life is supposed to teach you. I think his name is Richard.
I'm literally trying to
She's like, I see you squinting. Correct me if I'm wrong, but so those videos were amazing. I guess I grew up with a dad, but I'm not a boy, and so a boy's relationship to his dad isn't exactly very clear to us. But we understood that an older sister and a younger sister's relationship, a mother and a daughter's relationship, really does shape how you end up as a woman, how you turned out as a woman. Mm-hmm. We were like, we're not ready to be moms and give advice from that perspective, because clearly we don't have kids. But we were like, one day, someday. But right now we don't have kids. And so what we could be was older sisters to an entire generation of women, even younger sisters, and just have conversations that women really need to have, especially in our country's context, in our culture's context of, you know, certain things that are considered taboo, other things that aren't given much attention, things that are narrated by men, so they don't exactly understand the female perspective either. So the 8 episodes were, let's count them down. First episode was hair.
Yes, so it's about hair.
Man, do we care about our hair.
And I think it was great for us to talk about Ethiopian hair in particular.
Ethiopian hair's history, how Ethiopian women relate to their hair, how Ethiopian women can take care of their natural hair, the narrative that just because you don't have straight hair or long hair, it's not considered good hair.
Yes.
And how damaging that could be for a woman as well. I know it seems like a frivolous little idea for a lot of people, but it's so deep, it's ridiculous.
What women is to hair is like men to beards.
Yeah.
So I hope you guys understand that correlation.
Y'all sensitive about your hairlines and your beards.
You felt it right then. Right then.
I felt it for them. Second episode was Women in Business.
Yeah, so we focused on a few female entrepreneurs that are up and coming, and we thought deserved a spotlight on the businesses that they're running, and just wanted an understanding of just what they feel being an entrepreneur is. And for those who are tuning in, like ourselves, who are trying to be entrepreneurs, that they could give words of wisdom.
They sure did, and it was incredible meeting all those female entrepreneurs, one of which we ended up working with for our upcoming 7th video.
Yes, we're going to talk about that. I will let you guys know what we mean when we say something special that we worked on.
Child's today.
The third one we worked on, the third video had to do with gender-based violence.
Yeah.
And this was a more serious topic in which we dived in talking about what that looks like in the Ethiopian context. And we were also very personal and talked about our own stories.
True, we did open up quite a bit, and we also included Setawit's hotline. They have a hotline called Alenta, where women who have been victims of gender-based violence, whether it's abuse, physical, sexual, whether it's mental, whatever it is you're going through, there is a free hotline that women can call to and get some sort of help, counseling, anything really.
Yes.
But to get the proper information on how to proceed.
Yes, that was our third video.
True. Our fourth one was one of the most fun ones. It was about female friendships.
And we are always talking about women empowerment, supporting women. So we wanted to highlight and just illustrate how that looks like, even just not only in Ethiopia, but we got so many women involved all over the world.
Yeah.
With this video. It was so cool.
I think that might be my favorite one.
It is.
Until I see the next one. We'll decide.
Yes. So that was our fourth video. Our fifth one
was about female reproductive health, menstrual cycles, the effect it has on women, how it affects literally our entire lives.
And the thing is, we always get the biology sort of like rundown of the female reproductive system, but we also wanted to talk about what that looks like as a woman, knowing your own body, being in tune with your own body, how it's a shameful sort of topic, how you feel guilty even bringing it up in this current day and age. So we wanted to normalize these conversations, and one of the reasons why we felt like this deserves to be an entire video in its own.
True. Today kind of reinforced
for sure
what we already knew.
Oh yeah,
was a taboo topic for us. And so that leads us to our 6th video, which is why we're doing the show today. And it's about sisters.
By the way, just to throw this out there, because we were talking about how do I as the inspiration. It's the guy who made it is called Rob Kenny.
Rob Kenny. Shout out to Rob Kenny.
And he has, in case you guys want to follow him, he has like 3.75 million followers.
Yes. And those are all people that want to learn little tasks that the dad should have taught them that they never thought.
You know what I mean? Like, you never think, you're like, dang, I didn't have a dad, but this just makes you feel as if somehow it feels that whole little bit, just a little bit. And we wanted to do the same.
And when you go through the comments, you'll see it of people being like, thank you so much. And a lot of people call him dad.
That's so
sweet. And it's like, oh, wholesomeness overload.
That's really what we wanted to do with Sis How Do I too. We felt like, okay, what are topics that, because I never had an older sister, I have younger sisters.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just like, what are topics that would, be necessary to talk about that people are like, Dane, I really wish I had an older sister that I can discuss these things with or seek advice from. So that's why we created every topic the way that we did, because I feel like genuinely this is things that I would talk about.
These
with
are
my
all
little
things
sisters.
I care about. Yeah. I have an older sister, but she's 20 years older than me, so
Okay.
she grown. It's weird to try and close that gap and be buddies. So for this episode, we brought Alko Busa.
So she's actually Alko Nuguse.
Alko Nuguse.
Like,
you use your last name.
I use my grandfather's name because that's what you use, like
in the
abroad.
States.
But here, Alko Nuguse.
You both are Nuguses.
Yes, she's a year younger than me, a little over a year younger than me, like a year and a half. No, year 5 months. But she is the sister that I've known my entire life, and we still live together. I think I even talked about in the video how she's going to be married in a couple months. So this is even sort of bittersweet doing this video because it was kind of like our last hurrah.
Yeah, it's your last big thing that you did together before she moves out and
lives her own life, this new chapter of her life. And like I said, me and Alko, we have had many life experiences together. And it's crazy when you go through that much of your life with someone that has always been in the picture.
Yeah.
Because whether it's good or bad, they have always been somehow in your life.
In the vicinity, just in general.
Absolutely. And I think what makes it interesting is the fact that earlier before the musical break, we talked about, well, just because she's my sister, does that mean that she's my friend?
Yeah.
And so that was not the case with my sister. Like, she absolutely was my sister. But we didn't necessarily have a friendship. And I think we always were like, we should try to be closer. We should try to, like get to know each other better. And I think it never happened simply because we were, if I'm going to be honest, we weren't really healing and becoming better versions of ourselves. And I think that really clashed with the relationship in itself. And I think the moment that we started to focus on healing and being better versions of us and embracing the fact that, and this is a point that my sister touched up on, she allowed me to be me and I allowed her to be her. It's so funny when you grow up with someone your whole life, because when you see different parts of them outside of the home, you're like, that's not you.
Who is that?
Like I know you.
Who are you?
And I think we just kept each other in a box. And it wasn't until I was like, no, she's an entire person outside of who she is at home. And when she also embraced that with me, that's when we started to have a good relationship.
I see.
It took a lifetime.
Of course it did. It takes that long to know a person.
And you never think that, especially when you grow up with someone. It's so funny, y'all, how you learn something new all the time. And now we're healing and we're getting closer and we're understanding each other. And it's like I said, just a couple months left until my little sister moves out and starts her own life. But this was really therapeutic. And I'm glad that we did this video, TG. I'm really glad. Because even looking back at it, I was like, did you watch it? I was like, what'd you think? And she was like, you said so many really nice things about me. She was like, thank you. And I was like, you said nice things about me. So if you want to know what those nice things are, you have to watch the video, y'all.
Obviously, we're not about to reenact the video. Go check it out on our social media pages. With me and my little sister, I explained this in the video as well. She's not my biological sister. She is barely a blood relation between us, but our parents have known each other for an incredibly long time.
Yeah.
And so they're so super close where her dad is my dad's best friend and her mom is my mom's best friend.
Oh.
And so I'm 3.5 years older than her by the time Galila, that's my little sister, by the time she was born, they kind of wanted that closeness to be even stronger. So my mom ended up becoming Galila's godmother.
Oh, wow.
And so I have known her since the day she was born. And there's really old pictures of us that is like the cutest thing ever. But I also explained how we both had super conservative parents. So as close as they were, we never got sleepovers. We technically have never lived in the same house, even though I'll go to their house at like 8 in the morning, have breakfast there, have lunch there, have dinner there. and then come home at night just to sleep.
There's something about Ethiopians and sleepovers that
Jesus, y'all are terrible.
they don't like it. It doesn't matter where you are in the world.
You know where I'm going.
It's a thing. They just don't want you to sleep outside of the house.
Yeah, I live like a block from here, and even when she lost her grandma, I wanted to sleep over. They wouldn't let me, and I was like, y'all are something else. We'll grow up one day, you'll see. But because of how conservative our parents were, hers a little bit more than mine, especially when she was younger, we were allowed to do certain things if we did them together. I was older, I was considered responsible, so I would be allowed to take her and leave the house. And that was the perfect opportunity for us to start bonding. So by the time we were in like middle school, we ended up joining a gym together where I did boxing. We did all sorts of stuff. We danced. We were allowed to stay late because it's the gym. And that's where kind of we really generally started to get to know each other.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, you're just somebody I'm related to. I never really felt any need to share, or yes, I felt protective of this person. But growing up together, one of the hardest things that it does is it makes you fearful of showing people how you've changed and how you live your life outside of your parents' guidance. So the second you step out of the home, I genuinely believe all kids have certain characteristics, certain places they go to, things that you don't necessarily tell family.
Yeah.
Like, nobody I'm related to is on my social media. I've blocked all of them except for my brother, who's super cool.
Yeah. Whereas I'm the opposite.
You have everybody on your socials.
My mom, my dad, they're on. We have a family group chat. So yeah.
But you keep it very low key on your socials, whereas I share a little too much.
Well, that might be the difference.
So I need to make sure none of my relatives are on there. So it creates that barrier of, you know my parents a little too well. I don't know if I want to let you into my life. Or you know my entire family, so I don't know. But she was cool, and I was, I explained it in the video as well, this too, where but especially by the time we hit high school, we used to go to separate schools. Now we ended up going to the same high school. So we walked to school and from school every day. She was 3 years my junior, but by the time she joined high school, she was a 9th grader. I was a 12th grader.
Yeah.
I abandoned all my senior friends and just hung out with her and her friends.
Oh, well.
So I was a senior with freshman friends. And even my headmistress was like, what you doing with the kids? I'm like, that's my family. What do you want me to say? And so she really did come to me with life's questions.
Yeah.
The thing about Galila is she prefers to do it herself, whatever it is. She's kind of like me in the sense that she doesn't like to ask for help. She doesn't like to ask people for things. She'd rather just deal with it. But I might have been one of the few people in her life where she didn't know a thing, or if she wanted to know more about boys or something, she would come to me and be like, hey, this happened, how do I deal with it? And because I'm always popping off about my stories,
She
I have
felt
so
comfortable
many
to do the
stories.
same.
Yeah, I have so many stories where I slip up and I mess up. She felt comfortable because I'm telling her all these very private, personal things. She was like, I can tell her and she'll be cool about it. And so that's kind of how our friendship / sisterhood progressed all the way up until this day, where there's really nothing she can tell me where I'll be like, how could you? No.
It's so interesting because, like I said, even though me and Alco, it took time for me to cultivate the relationship, for us to cultivate the relationship that we have. She has always been my backbone.
Yeah.
If I'm sick, and I used to get really sick a lot, guys, like she would be the one to take care of me. I wouldn't even allow my parents to see me sick. It was only her because she was always in the same room as me. So she would literally be the one to carry me. She'd be the one to like take me to the hospital. If somebody did me wrong, like I said, we grew up as boys. So she'd be like, where they at? Like, where are they?
Let's roll.
I remember I had, remember when we used to work at a different place, me and TG? I had a stalker, guys. It was kind of crazy. And he followed me home, and Alco, I told her, I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. And Alco was like, where is he? She took the broom and opened the door. I was like, where are you going? I don't even know how this person looks like, bro. And any of my relationships, when they ended, she was like, they better not call me. I better not see them. Like, she's very much my person. So even though we, had challenges in our relationship and we had great times as well, she was always consistently my backbone. Like, always. And she always had my back every single time. And so my other siblings are younger, and they just didn't grow up with us in the way that me and Alco grew up together. So the fact that, sorry y'all, my stomach is grumbling. I don't know if y'all heard that. But the fact that she always had my back the way that she did, I don't know if I'm ever going to let a person into my life
the way you did
the way
your
that
sister,
I did
yeah.
Alco. Because like I said, this has been a lifelong relationship that I've had with her. And even our crazy adventures that we would have as children. We did the craziest things together. And I'm just like, that's Alco. And just the day before yesterday, I went to the room and I was like, you know what? Like, we were just talking about this video. So this video that we created together, she told me what she thought about it. And we were sort of just reflecting. And then we started talking about just childhood memories and things that happened and what we went through. And we were literally in tears. Like, we were
giggling,
heaving, just laughing so hard. Like, y'all, like, how was that our upbringing? Just insane.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say is, for those of you who are, tuning in, maybe you can relate to the relationship that I have with my sister, or maybe what TG has with her sister, in the sense that a relationship is a journey. And I think that it grows, especially for me. I can say once I started to heal myself and learn more about myself and be in tune with myself, my relationship with my sister, as well as people around me, got better. So I think really having the best relationship with yourself, I think, helps you to have great relationships, especially with family.
Yeah.
Because we're shorter with family.
Whoa.
We don't have patience with family.
At
Why
all.
is it?
They're always around, so it's just easy to get mad at them or blame them for something. And we definitely have a culture of, not that you nurture family, it's not that you talk to family or communicate with family or have open dialogue about your feelings and your emotions. We don't do that here.
We don't.
It's more out of obligation.
But even growing up abroad, that was still the same.
Yes, every Habesh
thing.
household is the same thing.
I don't think it matters where in the world you are. I think anybody can relate to this.
Very few households care about your feelings, to be honest, or your emotions or what you're going through. It's our family bond and our family structures are made in a way that it's obligation. Your parents do what they're obligated to do for you, and your siblings do what they are obligated to do for a relative. And so once you reach a place where you're like, I don't feel obligated to do anything just because we're related by blood. I don't feel obligated to be loyal to you or to help you just because you have the same genes I do. If you are not a person I enjoy, a person that I have gotten to know, a person that I genuinely love, I'm at that place where I'm like, the fact that you're related to me barely...
I choose my family, right?
It's like the whole blood is thicker than water thing, by the way, complete misconception. I genuinely would rather choose my own people. So if I don't love you, the fact that we're related,
I get that,
don't really mean much to me. So
yeah.
It came down to the people that spent the most time, that communicated the most, which is my mom, my brother, and my little sister, which I'm not even related to.
And it's interesting for me because one of the things my dad has instilled very few life lessons that he has literally repeated over the duration of our life, and one of them being, your sister is the closest person to you. You have no one closer to you or more important to you than your sisters. And you're a kid and you're like, oh my God, Dad,
I can't even get along with her.
It's just like, this is just so dumb. Like, okay, she's my sister. Does she have to be like my friend? It just didn't make sense when you're a kid.
True.
And I think when I got older, I was like, no, like, this is a relationship worth investing in. And I have 3 sisters, and mind you, we all grew up in the same house. We're all very different.
From the stories that I've heard, yes.
Oh, and it's a hoot, you guys. It's a ton of fun.
Some characters in that house instead of being a sitcom.
If it was a sitcom, I promise you guys would have a lot of fun. But I think me and my sister Alco, we started to value the relationship more. Like I said, the older we got, the more life experiences we got, the more we matured and understood life and understood ourselves, we were like, okay, now I think we're ready to have a fruitful relationship together. And one thing that we do every year, and I hope it still continues even after my sister is married and has kids, is that we celebrate each other's birthday together.
Yeah.
So
you
it's
always
like,
have lunch or dinner or something. I know that.
So I told TJ, I'm like, I'm celebrating with Alco, and Alco tells like her friends as well, sorry, I'm celebrating with my sister, how we? So that's something we try to always keep for each other, because birthdays are such a huge thing in my household. But we want to know what you guys feel about relationships with your siblings, with your sisters in particular. Was it like mine? Was it like TJ's? Or was it just completely different? We'd love to hear. Let us know on our Telegram at Awaze Media.
Yeah, like if we played 20 questions, would you really know your sibling that well?
See, this is a good one. I hope you guys can reflect on that a little while we get to a musical break.
Could you tell who they are as a person?
Absolutely. So we're going to get to another track, and then when we're back, we're almost done with the show,
Yeah, 1 hour is not a lot of time.
Do not move a muscle. Let's get to it. Sis, How Do I? Brought to you by Awaze. We're back at it. Welcome. We're here on Awaze Show.
You're like, what?
I mean,
Sis, how do I?
We like to call ourselves Awaze Media. Let's go with that, even though we have a show on Fridays called Awaze Show. But we're back at it, guys. And on today's radio show, we're talking about sisters and relationships with sisters. That was what our video was about. And you know what? Like I said, I think this might... I don't know. This might tie with number one, with one of my favorites.
For you?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm not sure. I'm not sure, because both we talked about how the one with
the friendship
female
episode
friendships
was dope too. Yeah, so because we're so close to all these topics, obviously every single one of these videos has a special place in our heart. I feel like for you, 10, 15 years down the road, this video will mean quite a bit.
You know, when she put that into perspective for me right now, I'm just thinking about where I could possibly be in 10 years, where my sister would be, and we would even possibly look back and show our children, hey, like, we did this together. Like,
this is how sisters are.
Yes, but also, like I said, with the relationship that I currently have with my sister, this was highly meaningful for me. But also, the female friendships was super dope. But I don't know, this might be my favorite one, TG.
I completely understand. My biggest takeaway from this video in the first place was that because I don't like to leave my house, I just assume other people also don't like to leave their houses.
That's so not true. I've come to find out people don't want to stay at home.
And my little sister, she is a medical student. She's the president of the Medical Students Association. She does like road tracks and things like that on the side.
Yeah.
So I know what her schedule is like, and she like constantly goes back home to see her dad, to see her mom.
So she doesn't like to be at home.
Whereas I don't.
She doesn't like that then.
Yeah, so she's either in school or has something to do with our little association, or she's with family, something. So in my head, I'm just like, I knew when I was in campus, I just wanted people to leave me alone. Whatever downtime I had, I just wanted to sleep.
I think me and TJ are similar on this one, because my sister's like, how are you still home? Like, I can't
Yeah, like, I miss certain people, but I'm like,
do I miss you enough to leave my bed?
So this video and spending the day with her definitely made me realize, hey buddy, you used to spend every day together. That's not nice.
I think I need to spend more too, right?
And I give so much of my, not so much, but a little bit of my energy to like friends, like people I know and stuff like that. And I'm like, I could just be redirecting all of my energy to my sister.
That's real for her to even say that. Like I said, we're talking about real relationships here, guys.
Yeah.
So, there might be people.
I come to EBC like twice a week, and her school is next door.
Wow. Yeah. Even I didn't realize.
Yeah.
No, see, this is real, guys. We're talking about, like we said, there might be some of you tuning in who might have distant relationships with your siblings. I mean, you might love each other, obviously, but it's like investing and putting in the time
you're not making
is
the
different.
time. Mm-hmm. I know everybody's busy, life and this is crazy, but even with my brother, it makes me think, yeah, it's crazy, but I'm sure we can grab a cup of coffee.
For sure.
I'm being a diva. So yeah, I guess moving forward from this video, that's what I got from it. Final words, advice that you would give siblings before we leave?
For me, and this is one thing that we highlighted in the video, and I want to reiterate that again on this show, is that communication is so important. And I have come to realize that the less communicating I did with my sister, like I said, we grew up with the philosophy our dad instilled in us, was to be very masculine and to be very independent. And I think that even showed itself in our relationship, where we just did things on our own. She did things on her own. I did things on my own. We can be in the same house and probably not even see each other for a couple of days. That's wild.
That's crazy.
But like I said, just very independent, just doing things by herself. So I understood, if I don't intentionally communicate with my sister and involve her in my life, and she do the same vice versa, you're going to even be in the same proximity and there is still distance.
Yeah.
So communicating, I think, showed me that I'm able to be myself. I'm able to tell my sister what I feel about, my life and the relationship, and she can do the same. But also, it just allows us to grow. I think embracing each other for who you are as equally is as important as communicating. So both, to me, are the things that I want to leave you guys with. What about you?
I completely agree. The family members, the siblings that I am the closest to now, were the ones that communicated the most with me when I was younger, and that continue to communicate with me.
Yeah.
So I have a brother that I only talk to on holidays, and sister that I talk to if my mom's in town.
Yeah.
But I also have a brother that I talk to every day, and a little sister I make effort to go see. So the people that communicated with you, that let you into their world, that let you see them, the bond, not just by blood, but by heart, by love, by closeness to your heart.
Yeah.
Those bonds really get stronger. So I want everybody to take today to be like, when's the time I called my sister? When's the last time I got in touch with my little sister?
Or if you're living with them.
Yes, if you have siblings, when's the last time we did a thing together?
Yes, there you go.
When's the last time we hung out? If they live out of town, when's the last time they visited or I visited? When's the last time we sat down and had a heart to heart?
We're talking about intentionality here.
Ooh, call your sisters right now. Just be like, I love you, because time is such a limited thing that you have. And like, the further you get away, the harder it is to try and reconnect that bond. So try and build those bridges while you still can.
Yeah.
And don't lose that closeness that you had when you were kids.
Some people might have tarnished relationships or broken relationships with their sisters. And the advice that I would like to give is that, Rome wasn't built in a day.
It was not.
Everything takes time, and everything allows, if you're moving forward in terms of even dealing with your own, pain and challenges, if you're even trying to fix yourself, I promise you that also contributes to fixing the relationship.
Yeah.
Because when you're both trying to be better, that allows you to both be able to have a fruitful relationship together. So just take baby steps.
True.
And like I said, I know what that feels like to have tarnished relationships with people. So for me to move forward, working on myself helps. So that's what I want to leave with you guys.
Oh yeah, and before I forget, this one's to the siblings that had to compete against each other their entire lives.
Ooh.
For attention, for love, for time, for the better things in the house. And you've kind of grown a resentment to each other now that you're older.
Yikes. Yeah.
This is like a straight up message from the universe. It wasn't your fault. It really wasn't. Wow. It was your parents' fault. It was the older people in your family's fault.
Wow.
That had nothing to do with you. So all the resentment that you had, that you felt like you had to prove yourself better than a sibling, and I've seen those cases a couple of times.
For sure.
It really messes up children. So that this is your sign to really understand, hey, my sibling didn't do that to me. The older people in our family did that to us. We were both traumatized by what happened. There's your middle ground. There's your way to rebuild that relationship.
Like that, I hope anybody tuning in that allowed them to be broken of that chain. That is powerful.
Yeah. I had to call it out. I felt it. I felt it in the air.
I'm so glad. I hope for you guys who are tuning in that you have taken something, at least a little bit. For me, like I said, I took something away from even so creating this video. So I hope that you guys have taken something from this show. But if you really want to know more about what we're talking about, check out our video, a talk with our sisters on our YouTube. You can also find it on our social media at Awaze Media. That's AWAZE MEDIA.
Yes, sir. And on that note, we do have to wrap it up for the day. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. We'll be back in 2 weeks for our final radio show show.
Oh my God. I can't get over it.
In like a week with our 7th video as well. Shout out to the Australian Embassy and the Direct Aid program for allowing this to be possible.
Yes, and like we always say before we sign out,
stay hydrated, make good decisions. Awaze out. Peace.
Sis, how do I? Brought to you by Awaze.